Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call to order the Osage Minerals Council regular meeting Friday, March 1st, 2024. At this time, I'd like you all to rise. I'm going to ask Secretary Redigo to give us a prayer this morning. Also, I'd like to include the prayers that we send to our councilwoman Curry and the strength she's going to need for today. With that, I want to
Tati Wakanda Jenkins, Hamo Wixie, Nani Wahaway, Washington Fule, Dia the Wajaji, Okis, Wajaji, Isap, Councilmember Curry, Father, who have Rose Hill,
oh, wait.
Grandma. You know that Wajaji today. Wakanda, Dia the Wajaji, they can say how the Wakanda, Die Wakani, Iwiki, the Naji case. Iwiki Naji, Wajaji, they all people. Thank you, Father, for this beautiful day. Thank you for the season that you grant us, Father, for our use and for our survival, Father. As you blessed our council member Curry this morning, all the ailments that she faces today, this cancer that she has. As you give her strength today, open up her eyes, Father, to give good health today, and she can join us sometime. Bless her people, Father, her sisters and her family, Father, and all those others that have breathed this hour, those that are not well. Again, thank you for all the great blessings you bestow upon us, Father. Give us good insight today. Compromise, Father, and good decisions we make for our shareholders, Father. Give us strength today for all our members that are not here, Father. Give us strength today and bless our travel spared for the people who are here and travel on the highways, Father. Yeah, gotcha. I'm a conduit, Jinky Day. That keeps you that way with all that. Conduit, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Please be seated. Roll call, please.
Councilman Big Horse?
Here.
Councilman Shishawala? Councilman Shishawala? Councilwoman Curry? Councilwoman Curry? Councilman Redcorn? Councilman Redcorn? Second Chair Red Eagle?
Here.
Councilman Rebar?
Present.
Councilman Shackelford?
Here.
Chairman Waller?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Council, with that, I'd like to go into new business. Item 4A, R&D Resources Corporation. Mr. Robinson, please join us.
Stand here. Do it.
Go right ahead.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Council. Thank you for having me today. I would like to nominate a new lease on Southwest Quarter 11, 2810 today for a $3,600 bonus and a 20% royalty rate.
Is that just a gas lease?
It's a oil and gas lease. It's an oil lease only. There's no gas sales up there.
Yes, sir. I needed that in consideration. Council, I'll entertain a motion at this point. So moved. I have a motion on the floor by Secretary Redigo. I'd like a second, please. Second. Second. I have a second by Councilman Bighorse. Any discussion? I would just say for a complimentary, this is the adjoining lease with the one we last gave you.
Correct, sir.
So you're going to do exactly what you said. You're going to develop more.
Yes, sir.
With that, I'd like to call for the question.
Councilman Big Horse?
Excuse me.
Yes.
Excuse me. Do you have a discussion?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'd like to know, was this lease terminated or canceled?
It was terminated.
Who was the former lessee?
C&W. It was Bob Wilson and Clay Wilson's old lease.
It was terminated? How many wells were on this lease?
One.
One well?
Yeah, one single.
It was terminated for lack of production?
Correct.
Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you, Council. Second Chair, please.
What's the potential? What kind of potential you have?
This one's really not a whole lot of potential. It's half barrel to a barrel day.
I'll never say that.
I'm sorry. It's half barrel to barrel day. It's just a joint joining to my lease, so economically it makes sense to kind of bring him back into the fold.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm just watching my chief of staff. We ready to call for the question?
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, I want you to block that. Who is it? Okay.
Councilman Big Horse.
Yes.
Second Chair Red Eagle.
Yes.
Councilman Rebar.
Yes.
Councilman Shackelford.
Yes.
Chairman Waller.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr.
guys.
Robinson. We appreciate it. With that, council, there's a couple issues today. We would like to go into executive session with our legal counsel, and I was to make aware that some folks have got some flights they need to catch, and we'll do the best we can getting through it. With that being said, I'd entertain a motion to go into executive, please. I need a second. Second, I have a motion on the floor by Second Chair Red Eagle, seconded by Councilman Shackelford to go into executive session. Any discussion? Call for the question.
Can we just say for the record that Councilman Redcorn entered?
Oh, he,
Wonky,
I am so sorry, brother. I didn't even look up and you are smooth. That's why you're first warrior out. Yes, for the
Councilman
record.
Redcorn.
Yes.
Second Chair Red Eagle.
Yes.
Councilman Rebar.
Yes.
Councilman Shackelford.
Yes.
Chairman Waller.
Yes, and I never seen my second best man on the fight.
Councilman Big Horse.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. With that, we'll go into executive session. We'll clear the chambers. We'll do this as quick as possible.
Recording stopped.
Thank you, ma'am.
Recording in progress.
Thank you, ma'am. We're live. I'd like to call to order the Osage Minerals Council. I'd entertain a motion to come out of executive, please.
I move.
So moved. I need a second. Second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'd like to call for the question, please.
Councilman Big Horse.
Yes.
Councilman Shishawala. Councilman Shishawala. Councilman Redcorn.
Here, or yes?
Second Chair Red Eagle.
Yes.
Councilman Rebar.
Yes.
Councilman Shackelford.
Yes.
Chairman Waller.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Back to the executive session.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Just voted to come out of executive. Council, do you want to have the executive issues handled at this point? Or do you want me to go through the agenda and get to it in the next three items? They're actually item number 6C, but I have two ahead of them. I do have a request that I know some of these folks have got to hit an airport, get on a flight. Raleigh, are you prepared for me to move that up for capture point? Sure. Council, is that fine with you? Can I just call on it and move it up and then come back? Thank you. With that, I'd like to go into our old business. Item 6C, and that's the capture point grant letter of support. Mr. Tracy Evans, please join us.
Welcome. Want to start?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm Tracy Evans. I'm CEO of Capture Point. We're just here to continue the discussion that we started at least 1 or 2 meetings ago on a proposal to request a letter of support to support a DOE grant to do some additional drilling and collecting geological data for the purposes of trying to determine if the Arbuckle Formation is a reasonable repository for CO2 sequestration. And I know we've had at least one other conversation on this issue. There were some questions about it. The project really is about a $30 million DOE grant. And about a third of that will benefit, if you want to call it benefit, the geological data collection, which is drilling 4 wells, collecting core data, collecting log data, pressure data. There will be no injection during this project at all. It literally is to collect data to better determine the reservoir characteristics of not only our local formation itself, but what we call confining zones, which are those zones, because CO2 weighs less than water, it will rise to the top. So we need to confirm that there is a confining zone that will not allow the CO2 to go beyond the Arbuckle Formation. In oil and gas, we call those traps, right? But in water formations, nobody's ever really cored the confining zones, and very few people have ever cored the actual water zones as well. And so there's just not a lot of data out there. There is some. I'm not going to say there's no data, but this is an opportunity to get some assistance for Capture Point, for the Osage, Mineral Council, to better understand the reservoir characteristics of the Arbuckle Formation. We provided some information to y'all, I know on, I can't remember if it was Monday or Tuesday, kind of summarizing what this is. Probably the new item that is in that probably hadn't been discussed before was the opportunity to add about $350,000 of grant money to this, directly contributed to the Mineral Council to be able to hire some consultants to not only help you understand what we're doing, but if there's other things that need to be done as well. So we've added that into it, which I think was in the documentation that you were sent. So we're here to request a letter of support, which is required for this grant to go forward. We might be able to file it, but we wouldn't get awarded because it is a requirement of the grant, is to have a letter of support from the Osage Mineral Council. So with that, I'll answer any questions you guys may have.
We have a couple.
I figured you might have one or two.
Two.
Two, okay.
And I'm going to allow Mr. Wilson to interject those at this time.
Sure.
Raleigh.
Thank you, Chairman Waller. And if I may elaborate on the two questions just a little bit, because there was another issue. Thank you, Mr. Evans, for the presentation, and we really appreciate the request of the council, Capture Point providing the draft grant application earlier this week. It really helps the council sort of understand the request that's being put in front of them and to be able to take action. And there is a letter of support that's drafted and that the council is considering, but there were a couple of things that came up in reviewing the draft application that the council wanted to run through, and they've asked me to present those issues for them. The first one relates to the new proposal for the $350,000 to support an independent third-party expert to help the council analyze and assess the data that you all produce. Thank you for including that in the draft application. And if I could just sort of draw everybody's attention to page 3 of the draft application. It's called the technical volume. You probably reviewed it and wrote it, so I hope you probably know what I'm talking about. It says the project team will coordinate directly with the Osage Minerals Council, the body elected by all head rate holders, to ensure proper stewardship of the Osage mineral estate. The project team will support this critical mission by providing approximately $350,000 for Carbon Solutions under advisement from the council to commission an independent geological consultant to advise the council on the storage potential of the injection sites within the Osage Reservation. That's great. Thank you for including that. In addition to doing all that, the council is concerned about the data produced and their ability to hang on to that data past the grant term, who quote unquote owns the data, as well as the analysis and assessments produced by the third-party technical consultant with the $350,000. Is it Capture Point's intent, and maybe you can clarify in here, that all of that data that is provided to the consultant and the Minerals Council will remain with the Minerals Council for them to use as they see fit.
I'm not a grant expert, but I'm gonna try to do this, and I may have Mikey Hannon help me
That'd be
from
fine.
that standpoint, but generally in DOE grant program, the data is public. You know, and what form that takes, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I know we will have to create reports, you know, over time, giving updates to the DOE on how the progress of the study is going. That data is there. We don't have any desire to have it confidential just to Capture Point. So as long as we're allowed to provide it, there's not something in the DOE grant, which I don't think there would be, Mikey, anything that would prevent us in the DOE grant to allow data to be shared, we're gonna share it.
So basically, all the data that you all produce is shareable, and then the work of the independent consultant would be, that wouldn't be the data, the additional analysis by this independent consultant would belong to the Minerals Council.
Is that fair?
Yes, some of it can be summarized at the council's discretion, can be summarized in reports we provide to DOE, which could end up becoming public, but it doesn't have to be.
As a federal deliverable.
Right.
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm getting into the weeds just a little bit, but I guess just for clarity purposes, so you all produce a lot of data under the DOE grant. That data is basically public. And then there's $350,000 for the council to engage in a consultant to assess that data. The assessment products that that consultant produces, are those also public in the same DOE fashion, or would those be the property of the Minerals Council through that consultant?
It would depend on how we write it in the application itself. It does not have to be publicized if it doesn't, if you guys don't want it.
Okay. So I realize you guys are on a tight deadline, but maybe just a little bit of clarity around that in the draft application would help.
Sure.
So that was a question.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
So is the desire to have it confidential to the Mineral Council? Is that the desire? And whatever the independent consultant comes up with is not made public? Because I don't think we want stuff that's gonna contradict, right? There has to be one conclusion for the.
That's exactly the way we want it.
Okay, well, if you want it, I mean, that's what's good to know, so that when Mikey actually writes it, if that's the desire, we can write it that way, but there is gonna be some level that almost everything has to be recorded. Now, what detail and all that becomes, because I've done several of these, and there's latitude.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Can we pause for just
Oh,
one second?
sorry.
Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties on the stream.